Okay. Now, Jim Rohn said you can't hire other people to do your push-ups for you. I love that, right? It's not them that's going to do the work for me. It's me. I'm going to do the thinking, the meditating, the visualizing, the forgiveness work, the journal writing, all the things that will accelerate this work. I'm going to be the one responsible for maintaining my vibration. How many of you have ever woken up in the morning and said, I know I'm not in a good mood. Those people last night at the party, they really ticked me off, and I can't get over it. Or, that person ruined my day, right? You say, that call ruined my day. Like someone out there is responsible for your vibration. Someone out there is responsible for your mood. It's not true. It's what you're thinking about what they said. It's your attitude, your beliefs about it. So you can't hire other people to do your thinking, your visualizing, or your managing of your emotional vibration. Most people don't wake up in the morning and go, oh, I'm responsible for how I feel today. What am I going to do to keep my vibration high? I mean, even people in California don't wake up and say stuff like that, right? But really, one of the most important things is that you keep yourself feeling good. One of the main teachers, Esther Hicks, says that there's nothing more important than you feel good. If you're not feeling good, you've got to stop what you're doing and say, what can I do to raise my vibration, to create what they call a better feeling thought? I'll give you an example of this. If I say, my wife forgets my birthday, and I say, wow, my wife forgot my birthday. I'm miserable. Means she doesn't love me. That's not a great thought. It creates a miserable feeling. Or I could say in the same situation, wow, someone who loves me forgot my birthday. Raise the thought up. There's no men in this town. How am I ever going to find someone to get married? There's no men in this town. Is that going to leave you feeling good? No. But if you go, there must be some men in this town, because Georgia just got married, and Marcy has a nice husband. That's two men I can think of, Now, if they found a man, probably there's someone else that, I bet there's someone now perfect for me, and they're on their way. I just have to open up and receive them into my life. That's going to leave you feeling better. Now, you could say, well, that's not very realistic. If you really look around, Montecito, where I live, there's all these women and not that many men, and that's a fact. Washington, D.C., there are more women than men because there are secretarial kind of efforts that go on here. It's mostly a bureaucracy. But the point is, people get married. So you're not interested in everyone else. There's someone coming for you. That's all that matters. And if you focus on that as opposed to there are not enough men in this town, I'm going to die an old maid, and then you feel bad, and what man's going to be attracted to a woman who's walking around like this? You want to be someone who's excited. How? I'm happy. And you also want to be someone who goes, wow, even if there never were a man, I'm still complete. That's another thing that raises your vibration. So you really want to look at, anytime you're not feeling good, what's a different thought you could be thinking? Now, we never got trained to do that in school. Anyone have a class on that? When you were going to grade school, elementary school, high school, grad school, how to raise your feelings by thinking better thoughts? No. But it's one of the most important things you can ever learn. And so I used to wear a rubber band on my hand, and every time I thought a negative thought, I would snap myself. Not to punish me, but to heighten my awareness. It got my attention. And then I would say, okay, what's a better thought I can think? And I would go to another thought. All right. So, one of the laws that underlies the law of attraction is what we call the law of vibration. And what it says is that everything in the universe is vibrating. Right now, every cell in you is a vibration. If you go to the subatomic level, everything's vibrating, all right? And so if everything's vibrating, the other thing we know is your thoughts affect the vibration. Your thoughts can change the vibration. We talk about people with good vibes, people with bad vibes. I mean, it's in the language. The Beach Boys, good vibrations. We walk into a room, I don't like the vibes in here, I want to leave. That person has bad vibes. So the vibration that's going on is controllable by your thoughts. We know from physics that everything exists in a state of potential, in this thing they call the quantum field or the 0-point field. And what happens is when you think a thought, it actually aggregates more thoughts to that. It aggregates energy to that, and it starts to move into a form of manifestation. And so we are responsible, again, for focusing on the vibrations that are going to attract to us what we want. So you always focus on what you want, not the obstacles. Because the more I focus on the obstacle. How many times have you had this experience? You're driving on a bicycle, and you see a rock in the road. If you keep looking at that rock, what are you going to do? You're going to hit it. What my dad taught me, look at the space between the rock and the next object. You know, because wherever your attention goes, your energy flows. You notice you're driving down the road in your car and you see a cow over there looking really interesting, and all of a sudden you're driving off the side of the road, right? So we know in our physical reality that works. So it also works on the more esoteric metaphysical level. Okay. So your body is an energy in high speed of vibration fed by thoughts and directives from your brain. Now I'm going to do a little activity with you here. I want you to look at the bottom of your hand, and I want you to see there's going to be a little line across the bottom where the wrist is. Y'all got that? Okay. So I want you to overlap that line on this hand, put it exactly over the other line so they're 100% lined up, and then just extend your hands like this into a prayer position. Everyone got that? Now if you look at your hands, you're going to see that one hand is just a little shorter than the other. One's a little longer than the other. Most of you see that? Okay. If that's true, take the shorter hand and put it in front of your face. If it's not true, take either hand and put it in front of your face. It's irrelevant. Okay? Now, we're going to look at this hand, and we're going to say 8 times in unison, all out loud together, grow longer. We're going to give the intention to the hand to grow longer. Okay? So we're going to do it on the count of 3. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Grow longer. 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 One more time. Grow longer. All right, now line them up again perfectly, just the way you did last time. And notice what happened. No, 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 no. You've just entered the twilight zone. But what we did, we just had an intention, a mental thought intention, and it created a physical response in your body. Just a very small example of how powerful pure intention is. And there wasn't a lot of resistance in the room with that. It was just called, well, what the heck, do it, see what happens. And boom, okay? Now, look at your hand again, same hand. And we're going to say 6 times, because that's all it takes for this, back to normal. Okay? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Back to normal. 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 Stop. Line them up again. How weird is that, right? I actually have a teacher of mine by the name of Chunyi Lin. He's a Qigong master from China. One of these guys who spent like 6 years meditating in a cave type guys. He now works in conjunction with the Mayo Clinic over there, and he teaches people energy healing. And he can literally come out, I don't have that power yet, but he can come out and he can literally have you put your hands up like this. He'll have you do this. And then he'll just have you put your short hand up, and he'll just go like this with his hands. And from the power of his intention, you go back and your other hand is now longer. That's what's possible. Most of us are never going to go sit in a cave for 6 years to be able to do that. Not all that useful a skill. You know, hey, you want to see something cool? You know. But qi being the Chinese word for energy, you know, Tai Chi, you see all those people doing those slow movement stuff. He's learned how to control the flow of energy with his mind at such a high level that he can manifest all kinds of things, including healing cancers with people and so on and so forth. Very, very powerful. And he can teach you how to do your own. You may remember in the movie The Secret, the woman who talked about getting rid of breast cancer, the guy who walked out of the hospital after they said he'd never walk again. This grow longer thing is the exact same thing we're doing. They just do it for longer with a bigger intention for a bigger part of the body called I'm going to walk again, or I'm going to heal my cancer, or get rid of leukemia. So we know that this stuff works. You just have to take the time to do it. All right. So every thought you think is sending out a vibration. Every thought. Think of it this way. You have a telephone, right? A wireless telephone, cell phone, and there's no wires. How does the information of your voice, your cadence, your tone, your words, your thoughts travel through space and download to someone in Singapore? It's all through energy called a wave. It has amplitude, which is how high does it go. It has frequency, which is how often does it go up and down. That's basically it, okay? And so that wave is encoded with information. And every time you think a thought, there is a wave that goes out that's encoded with that information that has an impact on the ethers, they would call it in physics, on the cosmic force field, the zero-point field, the quantum field, what we call God, source, infinite intelligence, you know, all those names we have for that same thing depending on our culture and our religious background. And we can send this information through what a friend of mine calls the internet. We all know about the internet, right? We've used the internet. You go on Google and Yahoo and so forth. But the internet says, I can send a thought. We now know from research with astronauts a minimum of 250,000 miles. How do we know that? We send astronauts up on the moon, or lunar orbiting up there, and they're asked to open up envelopes at a predetermined time. They can shuffle them, pick a number, envelope 7. They open it up. There's a form in there, like a square, a circle, a triangle, a pentagon, whatever it is. And then they focus on that and think about it for a minute. And they put it back in, record what it was, and they go about their business. They're doing lots of experiments all day long up there. Meanwhile, at that same time, there are students gathered at Duke University in what they call the Parapsychology Center, and they close their eyes and they try to pick up what it is the astronaut's thinking about. And they have an uncannily high, connection. So we know that thought can travel a minimum of 250,000 miles. Now, thought, we know from Deepak Chopra's writings, he's studied this quantum physics, actually is what they call non-locality. It's here and then it's there. It didn't even travel in between. How does that happen? It's somehow through this quantum field, it just disappears here and shows up there. And we see that with particles and so forth. So we know that your thoughts have that ability to just be here and be there. And we also know that if you have, I believe you're her daughter, is that correct? Okay. So you have a relationship that's bonded and important. Some of you are sitting next to your spouse and so forth. Anytime you've had an interaction with somebody, you've created a resonant relationship, such that if she were over in Europe and had an automobile accident, you might wake up at that exact moment in the middle of the night and go, something happened to my daughter. How would you know? They didn't send a telegram. But we see that happening all the time. There was a study done with baby rabbits. This is a terrible study, but they did it in Leningrad. They took baby rabbits, put them in a submarine, and took them down around Australia. They're way under the water, where they can't even get radio communication. And at random intervals, decided by a computer, they actually kill these baby rabbits. So that's why I said it's a terrible experiment. Now, the mother rabbit's back in the laboratory in Leningrad, and every time one of those baby rabbits is killed, all of her EEG, EKG, galvanic skin response, heart rate, respiration rates go crazy. So we know that, we don't know if she's conscious of it or unconscious of it, but we know she has picked up something's wrong. Something happened. That signal went through the cosmos and got there, okay? And I'll show you some other things later that are even equally interesting with all that. But it's sending out a vibration, and it seems to be, it travels faster than light, or just boom, it's there, and we know it goes at least 250,000 miles, which means any thought you're thinking on Earth, you're sending out what I call a mass email, spam, to the entire planet, okay? And so like I say, gee, I'd like to create a movie about how to end welfare in California. And all of a sudden, 3 weeks later, I'm on an airplane and someone says, hi, and I say, what do you do? She said, I run the welfare department for California. In a way, she's saying, I got your email. Okay? So people are responding, but it's not like they just pick up the phone and say, hi, I got your email. They show up as an opportunity. And a lot of us miss the opportunity. One of the trainings I took recently asked me to think this, is that everyone that comes into your life is there for a purpose. And ask yourself, what's the opportunity that this person is? What need are they bringing into my life that they could possibly fulfill? Now I see everyone as a potential gift to me rather than as someone who's bugging me, interrupting me, etc. What's the opportunity that this is? Even when I have an event that seems like it's off purpose. I'm running through the airport and my briefcase opens and everything fills on the floor. I say, oh, what fun. It's another thing I learned from juggling. When you drop the ball, you don't go, oh, damn. You go, oh, what fun. It changes your attitude. And then I say, what's the opportunity that this is? I may have missed my flight, and then on the next flight, I'm sitting next to someone who could change my life. You get the idea? It's all orchestrated in your behalf. It's a beneficent universe that will deliver to you what you order, but you got to take responsibility for what you're ordering, because you're sending out these cosmic work orders to the universe every time you have a thought. Which means you should get very clear about what? What you're thinking. And become a deliberate creator rather than a reactionary thinker. Most of your thoughts are in reaction to what's happening outside of you instead of instead of deliberately creating that which is that you want to create. All right, so every thought sending out a vibration. We talked about the 0-point field. It activates it, and then it attracts to you. Now, to be clear about this, you may want we'll say a Lexus. or we're in the Detroit area. I'll say a Cadillac. We need to be locally, politically correct here. So you want an American-made luxury car. Now, here it is. You want it. That's great. You may not attract a Cadillac, but what you may attract is someone that will hire you as a consultant for 6 months that will allow you to have the extra income to manifest the Cadillac. You will attract experiences, opportunities, strategies, books, articles, people saying, come to Jack's workshop. You ended up here somehow. You attracted this experience into your life. You attracted this organization, the email, the friend that said, why don't you go with me? You know, because in some way it's going to help you achieve something that's important to you. And the God source, the 0 point field is out ahead of you. It's up here. See, like right now, you can see a certain part of the room, but if you were up in the ceiling there, you could see the whole room. And so the universe, if you want to call it that, is up there. It sees it all. And so it knows, I want to get to work on time. And all of a sudden, it can see 6 miles down the road, if you take, the 105, you're going to hit a traffic jam. And then you get this inner impulse. It says to you, hey, why don't you get off at this exit, go to Starbucks, get some coffee, and take the service road. And you're going, well, that's kind of a weird thing. Let me have coffee at work. And if you honor it, you end up getting to work early. If you don't, you go, what's this traffic jam? How do I get to this mess, right? So you'll get something will help you out, but it won't always be like, here's some tickets to the Olympics. Sometimes it happens. It happened for me. I said, I want to go to the Olympics. And it was literally like a week later, once I made the commitment, looked at the calendar, saw when it was, saw what was going on around it, I had the time. Made the commitment, talked to my wife, said, I want to go. She said, I have no interest whatsoever to go to China, to sit in a bunch of sports things. She doesn't like to watch them, she likes to do them. And so I said, fine, I'll take my son. That's great, you guys need to bond. Okay, call my son, he's willing to go. Week later, I'm walking into a conference. It's a multi-level marketing company that hired me as a motivational speaker for their conference. And I'm literally walking over to the table where they give you the microphone, and the guy walks up to me and says, he's Chinese looking. He walks over to me and goes, hi, are you Jack Canfield? I said, yeah. He said, have you ever spoken in China? I said, I've spoken in Hong Kong, but not the mainland. He said, would you like to? I said, absolutely. He said, I can arrange that. Then I said, what I really want to do is get some tickets to the Olympics for my son and I. He said, oh, that's no problem. My brother works for the government. I can get that for you. No, 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 no. So sometimes it will happen like that, okay? But sometimes it takes a little longer. And sometimes, a lot of times we go like, I should have it by now. It didn't show up by now, but it will show up. But you have to be patient. And you also have to look at, it doesn't always show up wrapped in the clothes that you think it's going to show up in. It comes as an opportunity. It comes as a connection. It comes as an invitation to go somewhere. And you've got to honor that and trust your intuition.